Miss Linda. Who we got here? All right, y'all. So, one of the conversations that I've had recently was basically about men and women that do have kids and that don't have kids, and how they feel about dating men and women that do have kids versus men and women that don't have kids. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. Just kind of get everyone's opinions, how they feel about it. This is nothing that's law or legal, all opinionated. But just to see how people feel about it. You know, in conversations that I've had recently, people have different perspectives on what it is that they would or wouldn't do. People that have gone outside of things that they said that they would and wouldn't have done. But it's been an interesting topic, and from my understanding, a lot of people have been talking about this as of lately based on some comments that I've had. So if any of you guys want to join in, like I said earlier, I know some of you guys are just jumping in. Let me know. Just drop a comment and say, bring me in or add me on, and I'll connect the call. And then we can just engage in conversation there. You want to come in? Hi. Who wants to join? You want to join? Aw, hey, Jamie. All right, so gonna give it a few more minutes. Just writing some notes down. And then we're gonna start. I should have some music playing in the background, right? Sorry, this is my first time going live like this. So just to put some bugs in you guys' ears, I already told you guys about what we're going to be talking about. However, I'm home, Jamie. Do you guys think that the age in which men and women have children prior to dating makes a difference in what their relationship is going to be like? Well, so let's say, for example, someone dating as what I like to call a young tenderoni that have children in their 20s versus someone that has children, a man or woman, in their 30s or 40s or even 50s, because they're out there. Do you think that that would make a difference in what their relationship or their dating lifestyle would be like? So just to put a bug in your ear, again, this is going to be some interesting topics, but it's definitely something that I have had the pleasure of having conversations with different people about, and it's been interesting. It's been interesting to hear other people's perspective on the outlook of that, because everyone's lifestyle is different. Everyone's situation is different. Their circumstances are different. Their support system is different. And then when you start talking about children, as parents, we want to protect them, especially when it comes to people that we're dating. So it's one of those things. Before I would say yes, but in this generation of people's mindset, it's far different. And that's true. And so that goes to the mindset of a man, a young man or woman's, a mindset of a man or woman may differ based on their age, based on the circumstances in which they had children. So that's something that we spoke about as well. So the mindset of a 23-year-old man or woman who has a child or children versus the mindset of a 40-year-old man or woman that has children or a child, going into a dating relationship or a serious committed relationship, is going to differ. And it's going to differ because of the different experiences that they have or have not had yet in their life. It's going to differ based on the what they have experienced so far, as far as going out or not going out, clubbing, not clubbing, whether they want a serious relationship or not, whether they want somebody to take care of them or not. So I've heard some interesting stories about what some men and what some women would look for when dating in different age categories. So yeah, the mindset is definitely a big thing. Now, I wouldn't say this generation per se, but maybe society as a whole, things may be different. But I think that age definitely makes a big difference in that. So yeah, that's a good one. You gonna join the call? You want me to get you online here? All right, what else do we have? What else do you guys have for me? Jamie, what you got? New, hey. All right. So I know for me as a woman, and I've talked to some men, I know me as a woman, nope, I'm shy and battered from work. That's cool. So I know for me as a woman, in my 30s, one thing that I used to be concerned about is, you know, I have 3 kids. I was single, you know, recently divorced. Like, who is going to want to date me? You know what I mean? There's so many other women out here that are young and single, but then I hear different perspectives from men, I guess you can say, on their outlook. And I know there are some men that are like, I'm never going to date a woman that has kids. There are women that say, I'm never going to date a man that has kids. But then so many people in those situations, or that has that mindset, end up changing their mind. I know people that said that they would never date a woman or a man that had kids, that end up dating a man or a woman that have kids, ironically. Yeah, Jamie, I'm not gonna get you started, but you can join in the conversation if you want to. So I think it depends on where you are in your life. I think it depends on your environment, because your environment is going to play a very big role on the type of people that you are surrounded by, your options. Some people, sometimes options can be slim pickings out here. But again, it depends on where you are. I know that with children, a lot of people, single moms, single dads, that try to date, find it hard, especially when they have more than one child, or they don't have a support system around them. They find it hard to find the time to date, or to take time to find interest and to go on dinner dates, or go to the movies, or go out to the club. And that's going to be a whole nother conversation, like meeting people in the club and stuff. That's going to be a whole nother topic of conversation. But that's what some people want. Some people like that. Some people dress up and put on their best attire and say they're going out to the club or to the lounge or to the hookah bar to go find somebody. And that's cool. There's no this is a judgment-free zone, so we're going to speak openly and freely here. But yeah, there are people that look for that, and that can also be a determining factor on the type of relationship they end up having, or the type of relationship that they end up being in or looking for, and all of that good stuff, if I'm making sense. What we got? I never had a problem with a woman with kids, more sweets and Chuck E. Cheese. What? But as long as she's good to her kids, I have no problem. Okay, so then how do you feel about, this is a question for a woman dating a man that has kids but does not have custody of their kids and does not live with their kids. You don't know the circumstances, you just met the person. What is your outlook? I know a lot of people that off the break start to judge. I'm like, oh, well, if he's not doing this, or he's not taking care of their kids, and I'm not going to date him. I've heard that more often than not. However, until you really get to know someone and get to know their circumstances, do you really judge them off of what you think you know, or do you take the chance and take the risk to get to know them and learn more about them and learn more about their situation, or do you think that it's a waste of time? So everyone there on that perspective has different perspectives on that, I guess I should say. Sorry. Sometimes my words get mumbled and I think it sounds right, but it really doesn't. So it's okay. Just don't mind me. Don't judge me. Remember, judge-free zone. Judge-free zone. What else has come up? Sex life. You know, you have to worry about single parents if they decide to go into a relationship and bring the woman or man home with them. Do they have to worry about their child seeing them or not seeing them? You know, then start going into that, and then it gets a little sticky because it's like, you don't want to expose, not everyone wants to expose their kids to someone that they just started meeting, right? Or they just met or just started dating, I should say. So that becomes a sticky area, a little gray area there. So what happens when you're dating someone but you're not ready to introduce them to your kids? Do you then say, how do you go about having sex? You know what I mean? Like, do you sneak them in the middle of the night? Do you not? You know what I mean? Also, if you're dating a man or woman that already has a child, the other sticky subject comes up where, do you want to have more kids? I know that's come up for me, but do you want to have more? How do you know when is the right time to have one? And, you know, a lot of people like to say, oh, well, it's up to the woman because the woman's body. And yeah, but no, like that should definitely be a two-way street and something that everyone should definitely be on board with in your relationship, both man and woman. So that's also another sticky subject that has come up. Insecurities in some men and women that have children, concerns about, let's say, for example, you're dating someone and you have children, but the other person doesn't have children. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. Sometimes there's some insecurities there because you have a child and the other person doesn't, whether they understand children or they don't understand children, or you are worried that they may go astray because they may find someone that doesn't have kids that may strike their interest. So a lot of these things have come up. A lot of these people that I have talked to have had concerns about that. Another topic of conversation that I recently had was sex life for women that have had children. Of course, it's different with whether you have a C-section, whether you have a vaginal birth, but that also brings insecurities. So yeah, I go through that for not having kids. It's true, and it's a real thing. And these are a lot of things. These are things that people think about. Men and women definitely think about these things. They think they have concerns. They may not always voice them, or they may voice it with your homeboys or your homegirls, but you may not voice it with the person that you're actually dating. But definitely. Big topics that I think a lot of people stray away from. So I would like to hear everyone's opinion. What's up, Javi? Samad in the house. I see you, Lockett. So anybody else? What you guys got? So we talked about the kids, men and women having kids. We talked about dating. We talked about sex. We talked about the relationship. So let's dive more into the relationship. So when you're in a relationship with someone that has kids, and let's say you don't have kids or the other person doesn't have kids, what are some concerns as far as dating? Do you always bring the kid? Again, not everybody's environment is going to be the same, or not everyone's going to have the support system to be able to have a babysitter or have a friend or family member watch their child. So does the child always go on a date with you guys? And if so, would that be bothersome? You know what I mean? And if it is it because it doesn't necessarily always have to be because, you know, lack of love or care for the child. It just could be because of intimacy. You know, you can't really be as intimate with someone when a child is around, or you know, you don't have that sense of privacy, I guess. You don't want to expose especially in a new relationship, children to that kind of behavior or relationship. So definitely another relationship concern when we're talking about relationships with children, whether both of you guys have children or one of you guys have children. What else? Am I missing anything? All right. So since we've hit on all of those, we're going to. Who wants to come on? Let me bring somebody on. Stop being scared, y'all. Stop being scared. All right. So we talked about the dating aspect of dating someone that has a child or children. Again, sex life. Women, okay, so let's dive more into that since we dove into relationships just now. So let's talk about women that have children, women that don't have children. Men, a lot of men tend to have different feelings about their sex life when it comes to it being with a woman that has had children versus a woman that has not had children. And I know, again, talking about, and we brought this up when we spoke about insecurities, it's one of the things that I know from my experience having children, when, you know, I was dating, not married, it was a concern. It was definitely an insecurity concern for me, because I'm like, you know, there are so many young women out there, or women, older women that don't have children, that probably would, how can I word this, that may provide a better sex life because they haven't had children, or women that have had children but have had a C-section, if you get my drift. You know, I'm trying not to be too X-rated on here. I don't know who got children around, but you know, and a lot of women feel differently. You know, I hear a lot of women that have C-section, oh, I'm good, I'm this and that, and blah blah blah. But then we talk about not only insecurities as far as that is concerned, but as far as their body, and we're going to talk about women who had trying to get their body right after having kids in another topic. But these are all different types of insecurities that people have. Men feel differently about intercourse with a woman that has be X-rated. Men feel differently about women that have had children, having intercourse with women that have had children, versus women that have not had children. Yep. Then I felt shitty, almost like I regretted my kids, which then turned into other stuff. Definitely. So make a very good point, Claudia. Like, that is definitely a very big insecurity topic for women that have had children. So I completely agree. I don't know that a lot of men understand that, or maybe they do, but I've met guys that say, I have no problem dating a woman that had kids. You know, they call them tiger stripes, stretch marks, you know, all kinds of craziness. And men that say that they enjoy having, it is ignorant, enjoy having sex with a woman that have had kids. Some say it's better, some say it's not. So I've heard different stories, but they don't take into account the fact that we have internal insecurities. So we don't necessarily see it that way. You know what I mean? As women. Because I know for me, and I can only speak for myself, and you know, I talk about conversations that I've had with other people about this topic, but women that have kids, sex is kind of overwhelming. It's great. Okay, I don't know about that because I am a woman. Only other men on here can agree or disagree to that. But from a woman's perspective, I don't we don't necessarily feel that way after having kids. We don't always feel like, okay, the sex could be great, because in our minds, in the back of our heads, the sex may be better with someone else that hasn't had kids. But there are guys out there that say that the sex is better with women that have had kids before. I can neither confirm nor deny that. I've never had sex with a woman that have had kids, so I cannot speak on that. But I have heard different stories. I have heard men say that, you know, oh, it feels stretch out, they like it tight, you know, all that stuff, and that's what they like. So those are the things that have caused. Hey David, that have caused women like myself to have those type of insecurities when it comes to intercourse after having children. Now, as far as men, sex life with men that have kids, it doesn't really affect guys. You know what I mean? Like, at least I don't think so. I don't know that any man out there that have had kids can attest to whether having children has affected their sex life or not, because your guys' body and anatomy is entirely and completely different. But I know for women, again, when it comes to, I mean, if the guy has to press life alert after sex. Now, pressing life alert after having sex. Now, that may be a case for someone that's older, perhaps. You know, someone that has had children but is higher in the age brackets. You know, we did talk about 20s, 30s, 40s. I didn't really go higher than that, but we could definitely do that. You know, some men need Viagra. You know, they have medication for things like that. I don't know that. Yeah, it's definitely not affected like our bodies. It's definitely not one of those things that cause physical insecurities like women after having their body stretched out like nobody's business. Laugh out loud. No, in the 20s, men needing to press life alert in their 20s? Really? I don't know. Having intercourse with who? A tenderoni or someone in their 30s or 40s? Help me understand that one. That's interesting. I didn't even know that could have been a possibility, but I'm gonna have to Google that one. Let me write that down. Life alert. 20s. Men. I know, you're just playing. So that's one thing. So let's go back to dating a man or a woman with children, right? And when do you feel is the right time to then bring that person around the child? And if that's the case, let's say, for example, some feel like, you know, I'm not going to, because I hear it all the time, I'm not bringing them around my kid until I know it's going to be stable, da-da-da-da. You know, been there, done that. I get it. But if you're a single mom or a single dad and you're trying to date, right? And you have kids and you don't want to introduce that person to your child, but then you still want to be able to build on that relationship. How does that work exactly? Like, do you guys find it hard to go out on dates, to have dinner, to have intercourse? Like, are all of these things, which they're definitely obstacles and they're definitely challenges. Definitely, I've been there, done that. But have you guys ever found that it has been hopeless and just said, you know what, forget this, it's no point, and then you just decide to have free and open relationships because you feel like it's a never-ending battle because of the situation or circumstance that you're in? You know what I mean? Because it's definitely challenging, especially when you're unsure about where a relationship can go. Because as a parent, your natural instinct is to protect your child and not expose them to something that may or may not last. You know what I mean? So while you guys dwell on that a second, and I'll wait for some responses on that topic, let's go into where was I going? See, I had my mind going somewhere, and you know, the mind can't remember everything. This is why I write things down. What was one of the other things? Let's go into if you're in a relationship with someone that has a child, right, or children, and one of the person, whether it's the man or the woman, doesn't have kids, but then that person wants kids, but then the other person doesn't. Hey, you should have respect for yourself and for your child, and not expose them to the effects of your insecurities. Yeah, that's true. Dante commented, hey, you should have enough respect for yourself and your child to not expose them to the effects of your insecurities. Yes, but something that I spoke on earlier was the mindset of said certain individuals, whether it's male or female. Not everyone has the same mindset when it comes to dating and having children involved. Again, sometimes that can be your environment, your experience, that can be your age. You know what I mean? If you think about a man or a woman that's in their 20s that has a child, and you compare that to someone in their 30s or 40s that has a child and is dating, how different do you think that would be? How different do you think the dynamic of their relationship and the involvement of that child would be? It's probably going to be pretty different because not everyone has the mindset to go about things in the same way. So that's definitely not something to assume. But that's a good point though. Hey Ma. So where was I going? Sorry, I was going somewhere else with that. I was going to when one person in the relationship has a child or children and the other doesn't, but then the one that doesn't wants children. That's a sensitive topic. Like, that's something that, again, you both have to kind of be in agreement on. Because let's say the guy has children and the girl doesn't. Or maybe the girl does and one or the other wants children but the other one doesn't. What do you do? How do you go about finding that happy medium? You know, people say, oh, well, it's always up to the woman. You know, if the woman wants to have kids, it's her body. Yeah, but no. Because no woman wants to feel alone in the decision of having or not having a child, especially in a relationship. So, how do y'all feel about that? You know what I mean? How would you feel if you were in that situation? That's a tough one. Definitely a tough one. Yes, all ears. I know, I feel like I'm rambling. And I'm not very good at just talking to myself. It kind of feels weird. I want somebody to join on the call. Everyone's being scared. Leo. It is, if a woman wants to get pregnant, she will. I don't know about that one because with technology and innovation and medication and everything that's going on, there are definitely ways for a man to prevent a woman from getting pregnant. Yeah, it is late. Next time I do this, it's going to have to be a little bit earlier in the evening. I do apologize. It was leg day today, so I had to get it in. So I'm sorry for you guys for starting this talk a little late. But yeah, so I disagree with that. I disagree with the fact that if a woman wants to get pregnant, that she will. I mean, it's a two-way street. Getting pregnant is a two-way street. So I can honestly say that I don't believe that getting pregnant is something that just happens or that someone is tricked into, because there's so many different precautions that can be taken. There's condoms, there's birth controls, there's medication. Can't force anyone to take plan B. No, you can't force someone to take a plan B, but you can protect yourself and strap up. Put on them boots. Put on your boots, right? So don't mind me, y'all. I'm silly like that sometimes. So yeah, that's no excuse. I don't buy that. I don't buy that for a minute. I mean, it's definitely a two-way street. There are definitely different precautions that Only way to force us for real is to get snipped. Condoms suck. Um, we're gonna leave that topic of discussion for another day. Yeah, we're gonna that whole condom and sex life and intercourse. We're gonna save that for another topic of discussion. But yeah, but no. Um, yeah. So I don't know. It's been something that has been going. I don't want to say going viral because I wouldn't say that, but it's been a hot topic of conversation lately, especially about the sex life with a pregnant woman, or not a pregnant woman. My bad. Someone that has had kids and someone that has not had kids, dating someone that has kids and that doesn't have kids. So definitely been a topic of discussion lately. So I just wanted to bring it up. Put some bugs in you guys' ears, see what you guys had to say, get some feedback. I know I've heard a lot of different perspectives when it comes to that. So, yeah. Who do we have on? But anyway, I'm not going to keep you guys. I'm glad that you guys tuned in. I'm hoping that next topic I can get somebody live on here so that we can actually engage in a real conversation. It doesn't seem like I'm talking to myself. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in to Mo Talks. Next topic, definitely to post up, so y'all be on the lookout. I have a list, a laundry list of topics. People have been giving me topics. I've had people sending me topics that they would like to hear me talk about and engage in. So definitely look forward to talking with you guys. I know it's late. Those of you who have work tomorrow, who have to get up and take your babies to school tomorrow, whatever the case is, get some rest. Love y'all.